Okay, so number one, it gives you the endpoints 2, 4, and something else, and it tells you that the midpoint is 3, 7. So 2, 4 is an end, and 3, 7 is the midpoint. So if I go here, 2, 4 is an end, 3, 7 is the midpoint. If this is the middle, I went over 1, up 3. If that's the middle, I do it again. That's how you make this the middle. So what does that put me at? 4, 10. So the other side must have been 4, 10. Four, 10. Number two, point A has coordinates 7, 3. Point B has coordinates 1, negative 5. What's the length? So there's 7, 3, and there's 1, negative 5. We're trying to find the length between them. I taught you my shortcut way, which is to make it into a right triangle and just treat this as the hypotenuse, C. That's 6. That's 8. So 6 squared plus 8 squared equals C squared. C would be 10. So the length of this is 10. If, number 3, if triangle ABC is congruent to DEF, and I just kind of drew them over here, which must be correct? Is angle BAC the same as DEF? BAC, DEF? Nope, those aren't in the same spot. Is BC the same as FD? BC, FD? Nope, they're not in the same spot. Is BA the same as ED? BA, ED? Yep, that's the one. Those are in corresponding spots in congruent triangles. Number 4, if angle 1 is 4x plus 10 and angle 2 is 3x minus 5, find x. Well, what do you know about these two angles? Are they the same size? They don't look it. They add up to 180, right? If I put them in here, they're not the same size. But if I put them next to each other, they add up to a line. So they add up to 180. So that's how I show my algebra. 4x plus 10 and 3x minus 5 equals 180. I'm going to combine like terms. 7x and then 10 minus 5 is a positive 5. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. And then you divide both sides by 7, and the answer is 25. But I'm not going to write it in case somebody's not listening. So x is 25. All right, number 5, which is the equation of a line parallel to this line. Parallel means same slope, but I have to take, I just rewrote it right there. I have to make it into y equals mx plus b form first. So I'm going to get the 8 out of there. And now I have 4y equals 3x plus 8. I'm almost there, but now I have to divide everything by 4. And I end up with y equals 3/4 x plus 2. The only important part of this is the slope being 3/4. Parallel means same slope. So which one of these lines has a same slope of 3/4? Right there. Same slope means parallel. Number 6. In triangle ABC, angle C is congruent to angle B. So that means it's isosceles. What's the length of BC? Well, the equation I can set up is that this is congruent to this. So I know that 3x plus 1 is 10. So then 3x equals 9, x equals 3. Now, be careful. They put 3 as a choice, but that's not the answer. It wants to know how long BC is. if x is 3 and we plug it into 2x, 2 times 3 is 6. But the regions and midterms and tests often try to trick you into picking this one. And I keep circling this one to see if anybody circles it tonight because they're watching the video, but the answer is actually choice 4, 6, because you're taking the 3 and you're plugging it into 2x. I think we had this question before on a warm-up. Which reflection does not carry the square onto itself? There is no choice for 3, so you got away with that one. Number 1, x equals 5. If you had a line going through x at 5, and you fold it over that line, it would end up over here. That's not onto itself. So that's the answer right there is 1. But let me show you why the other ones wouldn't be the answer. Y equals 2 is right here. If I fold it over that line, if that were straight, it would carry it right onto itself. It's symmetrical over that line. If I solved that for y, and I went up to 4 with a y-intercept of 4 and had a slope of -1 and folded that, it would fold onto itself. So the only one that doesn't fold onto itself is that first one. Number 8, I think we had this question as well. What sequence happened here to get A, B, C, D eventually onto the double primes? The first thing that happened, it's not a translation. This wouldn't work because look at D. Look at the corner with D. It ends up on A. So this must have been a reflection, right? It must have reflected over this line. So, whoops, a reflection first, and then you can tell it was turned. So a reflection followed by a rotation. I'm just going to circle random things in case somebody's just watching and not listening, but the answer would be 1. And the last one, use the properties of rigid motions to explain. Now remember, explain means use words. So how does x, y, z get onto ABC? Or ABC onto x, y, z? So if there's your hint right there, but if I start with ABC, which it told me to do, I realized that all I had to do was get my patty paper out and do that, which is a rotation. Rotations are rigid motions. Rigid motions preserve angle and distance, which is why you have congruence. So because it was a rotation, which is a rigid motion, which preserves angle and distance. Make sure you're writing all that out. That's it. First midterm review.